how did I learn? Massive pain and failure.
The best teacher.
Yeah, really what it comes down to is failing forward. And every time we succeed or every time we fail, we go back to the drawing board and we contemplate. Contemplate yourself, others in the world, and you find distinctions. And I'm an engineer, so I like to break everything into its smallest components. So basically, over time, I noticed these patterns of regret where I would never, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how good of a person or good of a leader I became, no matter how virtuous and kind and warm and loving I was, it wouldn't matter. And so over time, you eventually realize, okay, there are certain types of people that are not aligned with the core values that I represent, and that's okay. And so I'm going to create sort of this ripple effect where you don't invite everyone.
Welcome to the Resilient Minds podcast, stories of grit, growth, and success. On this show, we focus on the real stories behind the success, the struggles, the resilience, and the courage it took to keep moving forward even when times got tough. My goal is to provide you with stories of hope and transformation, showing that no matter the challenges, there is a way forward, and you can find it. This is Resilient Minds.
Hi, I'm your host, and I'm Dr. Campbell, and I'm here with Alan Lazaros, and he is the CEO of Next Level University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Gratitude first. I do not take this lightly. Anyone who's watching or listening, I believe very strongly that whatever you're paying attention to and allowing into your mind is dictating a large part of your future. So I don't take it lightly. Thank you.
Absolutely. I agree, and that's how I take everything that we're feeding into our brain. Books, people, projects, things you're watching on TV, music, everything. Absolutely, you become it. So, can you explain to us what is Next Level University? I'm interested.
Yeah, so Next Level University it started out as a company I started 11 years ago. It was called Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. It's like a bridge between personal development, professional development, and social development with a little bit of fitness in there. We say health, wealth, and love. Health is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. Wealth is how you make your money. Is it meaningful work to you? Is that increasing or decreasing based on where the future is going? And then where do you invest it? And then love is your intimate relationship, immediate family, extended family, friends, colleagues, clients, mentors, mentees, that kind of thing. So to us, my business partner and I, we started a podcast 9 years ago together. I had one, he had one. I was his first guest, he was my first guest. And then we just started having deep conversations about these things because we realized a lot of people are healthy but not wealthy. A lot of people are wealthy but not healthy. And
Right.
very few people are healthy, wealthy, and in love. Very few.
Hmm,
Yeah.
I love that. I call it peace, power, and prosperity. But how did you phrase it? Everybody has their own words to put with it.
Yeah. Health, wealth, and love.
Health, wealth, and love. I love that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. And the way that I see it is something is imbalanced in us, and that's why we can't get the external balanced too. And people tend to think that, okay, well, if I make the money, I'll be happy, right? Or if I just work on myself and have inner peace, then everything in my life is going to work out. Well, no, you actually have to do the development too.
Hmm.
You have to learn the hard lessons, and it's hard to be able to get there.
The inner and outer work both matter.
Yeah.
I always say the reason we are not more successful is because we don't fully think accurately about ourself, others, or the world. So you and I talked off air about some neuroscience stuff and then some central nervous system stuff. There's something I'm missing. And that's okay. I'm always looking for what I'm missing. But ultimately, what I've found coaching people is they're inaccurate about their view of self
Hmm.
or their view of others or their view of the world. So self is self-awareness, obviously. Others is psychology, physiology, human condition, behavior, all that kind of stuff. And then the world, I call it STEMBIF, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance. I've found that some of the people that are the best at that are actually the worst at the inner work. And
Mm,
some of the people that are really good at the inner work are not successful because they don't understand the global economy.
right. Absolutely. And it's that difficulty. If I'm good at this, then I have to get good at that, right? A lot of times our ego gets in the way and it prevents it. Well, I know everything. I don't need to know anything else. And that's actually limiting us.
Hmm. Yeah, anyone who says that is obviously missing the point.
Right.
because what you don't know is limitless. And what you do know is very limited. And it's not hard to look 5 years ago and realize you knew very little compared to where you are now, at least if you're growing. So,
Right.
but that's a hell of a balance because I'm 37 now and I've been coaching for 11 years. And I was so eager to be the student that I didn't realize a
Mm.
lot of people saw me as a student. And eventually you sort of become the master, quote unquote, but you never fully. So I realized this compared to what there is to know, I know nothing. Compared to other people, it turns out I actually know quite a bit. And I
Right.
think eventually you grow up and realize that because when you study pretty much every day, eventually you do reach a point where you know more than other people, even about their thing a lot of the time. So you got to figure out where you fall with peers and the bell curve statistically, and where you fall in terms of the knowing. And so the knowing is infinite. You never reach any sort of, it's a mountain that gets higher as you climb it. When it
Mm.
comes to the economy and your peers, you do end up becoming the leader if you study long enough.
Well, I think we're all leaders because let's say you know something from your perspective, and then I know something from my perspective, and it's the same thing because we were literally just talking about neuroscience too. One of the benefits, and this is why I feel like I need to stay in the space of being humble all of the time, is because you never know what you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know what you've been looking at, and there's a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And that's such a gift, and that's part of knowledge. So the day that I fully accepted, I really don't know anything in comparison to what I could know, I think that's the day I got wisdom.
Yeah.
No, I didn't have wisdom before that. I had knowledge, but not wisdom.
Nice. The only downside to that I see, and I love this already,
Mm.
is unfortunately other people will see you as less unconsciously because a lot of people don't ask questions and aren't curious because they want to be seen as someone who knows a lot, right? So um, if you, I had to learn this the hard way. I was at a family gathering and there's some really successful people there that I'm related to and or know. And I was asking all the questions. And I was eager, 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 learn, always, always, always sponge, sponge, sponge. And when I left, my beautiful girlfriend and future wife, she said, "You do know that all of them see you as a student now." And I was like, "No." She said, "Yeah, they think that they know more than you do." And I was like, "They couldn't possibly." Right? And she was right. They all think that I know less than they do because I'm the most curious. But it's actually the one who's the most curious who knows the most. And so when it comes to coaching, podcasting, speaking, training, you have to know that you know nothing compared to what there is to know, but you have to own the floor
Mm.
with what you do know more than your peers. Most people compare to others. You and I are comparing to our potential.
Right.
And so compared to our potential, we know nothing, absolutely nothing. Yeah. Compared to peers, different story, very different story. And I had to learn that the hard way.
Well, it's interesting the twist you put on it too, because I think people who become experts in what they do, there a lot of times, from my experience, the people that I've been talking to, is they have the imposter syndrome. They still feel inadequate, which is just our filters internally. And then there's some people who really don't know a lot and they want to label themselves due to branding as experts, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they have big egos and they're really good at sales, it comes off that they are experts. But you really never know because the ego's always in play.
100%. I have a,
Okay.
go
So
ahead.
sorry. You,
I told you about an acronym I have to find those people.
yes, but say it slower for the audience, so because there's
Yes,
a lot.
I will. Yeah, I do tend to go too fast. So it's unmedzai, it's unstable, naive, manipulative, entitled, delusional, significance driven, arrogant, and immature.
Hmm.
So I mark everyone as green, yellow, red.
Oh, I like that.
And so green is they have a very low unmedzai score. Red means they have a lot of those. Anyone with a birthday month. If
Okay.
someone has a birthday month, the world revolves around them. And at the end of the day, they will grow up eventually. It is what it is. But you figure out over time as a leader who you work really horribly with.
Right.
And everyone has their absolutely people and their absolutely not people. And it took me 30 years to find my absolutely not people.
Right. I agree. And we were talking right before we got on the air about just knowing what your threshold is. I love your green, yellow, red because I'm
Hmm.
either a yes or a no, but I love the yellow because
Yeah.
we give people too much leeway, but there still needs to be that transition because they may be in transition too. None of us are perfect, but these are the people and the situations and the projects that you either allow to be in your life or that you don't. And so we were
Hmm.
talking about how you just let it go. Like if it's a red, just let it go. It's not for you. But because this took you so long to learn, which the majority of us who do learn this, we become very humbled during this transformation process, right? But we
Very
have
painful.
to learn, yeah, we have to learn what's good for us and what's not.
Yep.
So so tell me about your story about learning these hard lessons.
Leading a team. I Leadership, I think, is the hardest thing in the world. It's the most important skill. It's the hardest skill. And we had no team. So it was me and my business partner 9 years ago. And we went from no team, just the two of us doing everything, to a 24-person team now
Mm.
with 126 paying clients. And so 2,300 episodes. At the end of the day, over the last 11 years, I've done over 12,000 hours of coaching, training, and podcasting with people from all over the world. I don't say that to brag. I say that to show that I'm not just talking. What I've learned through all of that is who are my absolute people, who are my absolutely not people.
Mm.
And more importantly, you realize all different cultures, all different backgrounds, all different countries, New Zealand, Italy, all over the world. There's 195 countries on planet Earth. There's 8 billion people on planet Earth. There's 6 billion people on the internet, and that's increasing. And so it's a global world now. And you better learn how to be a global leader.
Mm.
And I know there's listeners potentially in other countries listening right now. So you have to have a global perspective to be a leader.
Mm.
And that wasn't true 40 years ago necessarily, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you're starting a gym that competes with the other gyms in the surrounding towns. I mean, now you're starting a podcast that's global. And so, how did I learn? Massive pain and failure. um,
The best teacher.
yeah, really, what it comes down to is failing forward. And every time we succeed or every time we fail, we go back to the drawing board and we contemplate. Contemplate yourself, others in the world, and you find distinctions. And I'm an engineer, so I like to break everything into its smallest components. So basically, over time, I noticed these patterns of regret where I would never, no matter how hard I tried, no matter how good of a person or good of a leader I became, no matter how virtuous and kind and warm and loving I was, it wouldn't matter. And so over time, you eventually realize, okay, there are certain types of people that are not aligned with the core values that I represent, and that's okay. And so I'm going to create sort of this ripple effect where you don't invite everyone up to the center of the
Mm.
castle. You have a moat, and then, well, first you have a wall, then you have a moat, then you have the farms, and then so it ripples outward. And ultimately, over time, I learned through Green, Yellow, Red, because we had a 24-person team back in 2023, and Kevin and I had to sit down, and I said, brother, we're going to go out of business. We've overextended because we doubled our business. We grew our business by 119% year over year for like 4 years straight.
Mm.
And there's two ways businesses fail. One is they grow too fast. The other one is they grow too slow. Usually they grow too slow. When you grow really fast, you start buying things, you overextend, you hire more people than you need, you start losing focus. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I said, Kev, we need to sit down and have a conversation. So we had a 24-person team, 24 departments, and a charity.
Mm.
And we said, what are the departments that we would go out of business without? We only came up with 8. I said, let's focus all of our time and effort there. We fired a lot of people. Some people left. And now we have an 24-person team, 18 departments with a charity. And so we've expanded again, but we've grown into it. What I did before was a huge mistake, which is build a huge company with a huge infrastructure and try to grow into it instead of focus on this, set that brick first, the foundation of the pyramid, then the next, then the next, then the next level. So we tried to grow too quickly and climb too high too quickly. And we were in some trouble and now we're in a much better spot. But really because we realized we overextended and we had that hard conversation, made some hard choices about people and about, because payroll is 70% of most businesses' expenses. And we have a 24-person team. I mean, payroll is nuts. And that's great if it's profitable. And I'll share this too. And I know this isn't a business podcast, but I do think this is important for the world to realize. I see a lot of people saying, well, why aren't I paid more? And it's like, well, if you don't contribute, if your time doesn't increase you can't just go to your clients and say, hey, I want to charge 100% more. So you have to earn more money from clients and customers before you pay your team more. And so I have a payroll sheet where if the growth of the costs is quicker than the growth of the revenue, we're in trouble. Right. And so at the time, Kevin was CFO and he's like, I told you not to make me the numbers guy. So now I'm the CFO and CEO, but ultimately data-driven decision-making. And I had to learn the hard way. Yeah, that's the answer.
Right. I like how you say data-driven, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they are so emotionally driven and they say that they're data-driven, but they're really not, because if you're growing too fast, you're excited. Just because it's not a negative emotion doesn't mean it's not running the show.
That's a great point.
But
great point.
When you were telling your story, I was thinking of a few things that I commonly see in entrepreneurs that cause this difficulty. The lack of self-awareness, which causes difficulty with discernment and self-control. And so if you don't have self-awareness, you can't see that you're either moving too fast or moving too slow, or you're staying still too long, or you just can't sit still. Like, you need to be able to see yourself to see where you're messing up, because a lot of time they just blame the team. It's not the team.
But you created the team.
Right.
I don't blame the team. I blame me. I told Kev, my business partner, I said, dude, if we fail, it's my fault. I'm the CEO. It's on me. I don't blame the team. I'm the one who chose to hire them. I just was unintelligent in my decision making back then. I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know, and that's why failure is the best teacher. And yeah, everyone either goes too slow or too fast, of course. Which one's your tendency? Mine is too fast, for sure. I err on the side of momentum with everything, but I think most people are sitting on the fence. I always say nothing grows on the fence. Let's get it done, baby. But of course, you're going to take more L's when you do that.
Right. And I learned the hard way too. I moved too fast, then I moved too slow. And so I'm doing this Goldilocks type thing where I'm like, okay, now we have a good balance, so let's just stay. Don't get too excited, but don't get too scared, right? Yeah. So you said you're 37 now, so you did this business, you started it at 26, or that's when you had the huge transformation?
Yeah, so I got in a car accident at 26 that you're referring to. That was sort of the wake-up call where I went from corporate to entrepreneur. And then Kevin and I got together 9 years ago. The car accident was 11 years ago. But I was on this journey before Kev. That was the Alan Lazaros LLC company. What you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. That was my tagline. And that's still kind of what we do today, is just, why didn't we learn about habits, and why didn't we learn about goal setting and courage and humility and vulnerability and the central nervous system and neuroscience, like communication, relationships, fitness, finance. I didn't take my first finance course until my MBA. My first finance course was in my graduate program. I went to some of the best schools in the world. It's like, there is a huge issue here. So at the end of the day, yeah, I'll get off the soapbox, but that 11 years ago, I could not freaking believe how I got straight A's in high school. I went to one of the best tech schools on the planet. I couldn't believe the gaps in the education system. I mean, it is just alarming.
I really appreciate you saying that, because I see that too, from when it comes to like basic skills to social skills, and then everyday life. Like, it just doesn't prepare you. But I also think if you're not given the tools and the resources and you don't know how to fix the problem, of course it's not going to work properly. Right. So in my personal opinion, because what I do with my individuals that I work with is learn to master the nervous system, right? Yeah. Which means that you have to evolve past yourself to see it from a bigger perspective, which means you're more of a conscious person. And so we had programs in the school system that the teachers themselves had to go through then they would do way better teaching the curriculum. And then the principals would be way better with the regulations. And then the school board would be way better with the funding and the testing because we would all be more conscious people, right?
Yeah. Well, you talking about the central nervous system and the subconscious and unconscious mind, the central nervous system will avoid whatever it believes is dangerous. And what if it believes something's dangerous that actually isn't? And what if the gold is buried where you least want to dig?
Yep.
And I think that that's why it's very, what I used to do, you and I talked about this off air, is I used to go and coach people I shouldn't have. And I've done that enough times to where eventually it's like, okay, I know this is a mistake, but it's not like I never went before. It's not like I never did that. So the school system, my thesis for what would change the world the most is very similar to yours. We both want to raise human consciousness,
Yeah.
awareness. You have to know better to do better.
Mhm.
You talked about knowledge versus wisdom. That I think wisdom is knowledge plus reflection plus experience. Knowledge plus experience plus reflection is wisdom,
Mm.
which is the contemplation. I say constant contemplation. But ultimately, I believe it's ignorance and apathy. Either you don't know enough or you don't care enough, or some combination of the two. You have a similar take, but yours is central nervous system oriented and emotional regulation. And basically, yeah, you pretty much will unconsciously avoid the things that you desperately need if you don't have a pulse on your emotional state and your central nervous system and its sort of fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. And that's the inner work. I'm all for both. I've met people who know the whole economy and they're great in the economy, but they're emotional children. And I know some people who are wildly mature and wonderful human beings who have done all the inner work who can't pay their bills. So at the end of the day, you need both. It's righty or lefty, and you need both. You
Mhm.
gotta do both. I always say if you want a coach, you probably need a therapist. I had dozens of coaches and mentors. I needed a therapist. And if you want a therapist, you probably need a coach. Success matters too. And the only difference between a therapist and a coach is the therapist more talks about the past and the inner work, and the coach tends to focus on external results and goals. But both do both. Um, they're just labels, and the key is to find one that helps you grow.
Right. Which means that you have to meet yourself where you're at. So you have to know yourself. And I've seen a lot of individuals as well as people working with me, but the way that I work with individuals too for my own growth is I've been seeing a lot of doubling up. So you see a coach and a therapist at the same time, right?
Nice.
So well, I see a lot of coaches and therapists teaming up in order to be able to bring the services, just like business coaches and emotional intelligent executive coaches get together, right?
Yeah.
It takes a team.
I actually have that going on with a therapist.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I send her people who need the work that I'm not focused on. It's not that I can't do it, but she can do it better. Yeah,
Right.
internal family systems, cognitive behavioral therapy, all, yeah. So internal family systems is wild. Look it up. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable. Life
It's so
changing.
cool.
The best thing ever. It's like Inside Out, the Pixar movie, but way deeper. And I do it, but I don't really want to do it. And I do it for myself, of course, but like
Right.
I'm a success coach who wants to help you grow your revenue. And
Mhm.
eventually it reaches a point where it's like, you need a therapist, and that's okay. So I'm with you. You should do both, but we all need one more than the other, I think.
Right. Depends on where we are in our growth.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Nice.
So before we hop off today, what do you think if there's somebody who's struggling with whether it be personal or whether it be business, but they want to live their fullest life? What is some information or advice that you can give them?
Personal responsibility.
Mm.
Personal responsibility. I do. So I had a client who inspires the hell out of me. I coached her for 3 months. Her name was Pauline. She was born with no arms and no legs.
Mm.
This woman was a podcaster. She had her own company called One Leg Up Productions. She drove a car. She swam. She exercised consistently. I see excuses all around me. I do. I know. I know. I know. I know. Don't be a dick. I see people who make excuses constantly, who are looking for the quick fix. I get it. I get it. Okay. No one's perfect. Watching Pauline, who was born with challenges none of us could even imagine, never make excuses inspired the hell out of me. She takes personal responsibility for her own life and for her own future. And if Pauline can do it with no arms and no legs, then so can you. And I believe that I'm saying that not because I want to be villainized. I know I will be. I'm saying that because I actually care enough to say it. Your life will change when you take personal responsibility for it. Your future is your responsibility and no one else's. And the moment that you decide that, you take back a lot of your power.
Right. I agree. I really appreciate that. And I think that it's becoming more of an open conversation because I too talk openly about it. And I've noticed, when I say it, talked about the victim mindset, how
Mhm.
it's going to hold you back and it's going to own your life as long as you let it. Right. So the second you realize, okay, I'm playing victim. Now, where am I playing victim? Let's just figure that out. Right.
Yeah.
And you can fully own your life. But I think people are villainizing people who talk about it openly less because more and more of us are like, you know what, screw it. Think I'm a jerk. I'm trying to help. Right. I have
Yes.
to do it too. Right. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on your team.
What'd you say?
I said, well, if the more of us do that, it's like I'm here to help and I want to be on your team because we're all just doing the best that we can. So
Right.
a lesson that we had to learn.
We are doing the best we can. This is the last thing I'll say. And I remember when I realized this. We all do the best we can, but we're not all bettering our best.
Ooh, really quick. Explain that.
Yeah. So next level you, not next level Alan, not next level Kevin, but next level you, YOU, personal responsibility. So people always say, well, my parents did the best they could. Yeah, but they didn't better their best. Where were the personal development books? Where were the parenting books? It's not that hard to Google central nervous system, right? We're letting everyone off the hook all the time. Well, they did their best. No, they didn't, and you know they didn't. And I'm being honest, some people actually did, but not everybody. So at the end of the day, I always say, yeah, everyone does their best, but not everyone betters their best. And we all have a responsibility to not just do our best, but better our best. Your best at 7 should be different than your best at 37.
Yeah, I love it. And I completely agree because we can always get better.
Always.
All right. Well, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Again, I started with gratitude. I want to end with gratitude. Thank you. That was a very good discussion of we're gonna analyze things from every angle, and I think we're gonna come to the center and both walk away better. I hope the listener feels the same way. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Wealth of knowledge. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining. Your time and your focus are your most valuable currencies, so thank you for giving that to us today. Our guest contact information will be in the description below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. But please, if you know someone who's struggling, stop right now and send this video to them. The struggle behind growth and success is real, and they need the support to make it, because the strongest minds are the ones that healed. So don't forget, lead louder, feel deeper, and stay resilient. Until next time, this is your host, Dr. Campbell, on the Resilient Minds Podcast.